All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for Dance Well. I'm going to try to hit a lot of information today. So, take a deep breath, get a drink of water, all the things, and make sure that you can absorb the information. It will be up on a recording later on for you all to go back through and get any information that you may have missed. So, thank you all for coming again. What we're going to cover today is just a few prevention techniques and recovery techniques that I have found extraordinarily beneficial in my own dance journey. And so, this is not meant to be comprehensive in any way whatsoever. It is simply meant to share what has helped me. And so, of course, if you want to apply any of these things to your own, to yourself, be sure to do your own research, talk about it with your physician, etc., and make your own informed choice as to what you want to do in your own life. Okay, so with all that disclaimer, because I'm talking about health issues, let's go on. So I'm just your friend helping you out and telling you a few tips. So I want to highlight things that are mostly that I have found rather in my dance journey to be gaps in the teaching of people who are later beginners in dance who want to either just learn ballet, tap, jazz, whatever, or the liturgical dancer that just wants to dance for the Lord. Most of the time, in those cases, they are later in life. They're not your traditional 15-year-old dancer. And so I want to make sure that we keep everybody as healthy as possible because oftentimes the dance world does not give you all the information that is tailored to the journey that you will find most of the time, which will be different than a 12 to 15-year-old. So this is just some things that I have found that are gaps. And those are the things I'm going to highlight today. Again, not intended to be comprehensive in any way. So the first thing I want to cover today is the importance of stretching as a preventative method. I had a teacher very early on in my dance training. I didn't start till I was an adult. I was 28, just very shortly before my 29th birthday. And so she was telling me even then that I will have to warm up for twice as long as my teenage peers to be ready to dance safely. And so that's not a criticism. That is simply biology. That is just the way our bodies are. It takes longer for our bodies to warm up as we get older. Even if you have a strong background in dance, you need to take longer and be more mindful about how you warm up. Just as your body gets older. And even more so if you do not have a strong background in dance because you're using muscles that you haven't used as much throughout your youth, childhood, and youth. And so making sure that we are properly warmed up is the foundation of helping us stay well and to be able to dance well. And so I want to highlight just a few things again that I feel are gaps, not because you can find stretching tutorials all over the internet and they're all of them provide nuggets of truth that are really good. But Pastor Lynn, who's the president and founder of Dancing for Him Ministries, she has a saying, and I don't remember if she's quoting someone or if it's her own quote, that you're only as young as your spine. That needs to be shouted from a megaphone. That is so true. Most of the time, you are working on your side to side and your front to back. You also want to work the serpentine position. You also want to work on that twisting. And she has some really great modern warm-ups that are on the floor where you're really working on the twisting of the spine and making sure that that area of rotation is also being warmed up as well. Cannot agree with that any more, if you will. And so Excuse me. And so you also want to be extra aware of your hips because, again, if you do not have a strong dance background, oftentimes you'll get into a situation and you're wanting to use turnout or provide yourself with some more stabilization in moves that you have not done before, and you're going to be using those rotators at a good, you can even do this sitting. I'm sitting here for a reason. You can even do them sitting. So you're turning out, pointing, and then flexing. And you can just do this all flexed, just warming up one leg at a time. You can do it pointed, or you can do pointing and rolling through your flex. You can do it feet individually or together. Now, if you're sitting, this will be in a chair. That will be harder because you're engaging your core. But then also you can do it on the floor as well if you have the mobility to get down on the floor. Then the next, that kind of leads me to my next thing, is to make sure that you can roll out as much as you can. So we have all sorts of gadgets today. So you can find balls of various diameters. This is more squishy. This is very firm. And so you have to find, again, what fits your body. So we can do things like rolling out our arch. They talk a lot about this with, going through your metatarsals as well, finding each metatarsal and rolling that out. They talk about this with, your traditional aged dancers. It's actually just as important or more important with adult dancers because most of us have not used these muscles before. So we want to roll these out, tension in the heel. And then you can also stretch. You can stretch your toes. You can use your ball to stretch your big toe and go through your toes that way. You can do this up against a wall as well. And you can then go from there using your ball, and you can find these with a smooth or bumpy or spiky, depending on how aggressive you want to be with your muscles. So you can get in and really like fine tune certain muscles and really work out knots and get them stretched out, rolled out, and relaxed and ready to work. And so you can find what diameter and strength works for you. Then we have these delightful things. Let me go a little closer. Mine is spiky because I like the progression of going from a smooth, smaller ball to a more aggressive bar. It works well for me, but the opposite might be good for you too. So I like to get in and start working out, especially like my IT band and things like that, that tend to get very tight when we're using turnout, and my inner thighs, and really getting some extra attention to particular areas of injury. So there are all sorts of gadgets out there. Play around with it, find one that works well for you. Then the next thing on the progression is just your basic foam roller. You can get these, you can pay a bunch of money for them, or you can pay not a lot of money for them. You just decide what works well for you. They have different lengths. Some of them are different diameters. Again, play around with it. So these require a little bit more mobility to use because you have to manipulate your body onto the roller, and they are the most uncomfortable of all of them because they are so aggressive. Like my IT band stretch, I have to get in this position and roll it out like here. So I'm having to carry my body. It's very effective, but you have to have some pretty good mobility to use it. Then you can just roll out your basic, your hamstrings and stuff like that. Very good for your back. Word of warning, be careful when you're rotating around using this to not put too much pressure on your sides because you can hurt your ribs as well. So those are just a few of the things that can help us get stretched out, warmed up, and things of that nature. Oh, I forgot. Calf stretches. Most people just do this. You also want to, let me get with white background, bend it because we have two muscles in our calves. Warm up both. Warm up both. Stretch out both. Top one, bottom one. We want to warm up both of those, not just one or the other. I've had injuries in both. I know. I know. All right, so we've talked about our stretching and our warm up. The next thing to talk about is our strengthening, our basic strengthening. Again, they talk about this with the traditional age of the dancer, but it's just as, if not more important, for a dancer that is doing things more or less part-time, or an older dancer, older again being defined as not 12 to 15. Your body is different. It's not wrong. It's beautiful. It's just not 15 anymore. So we can work on our TheraBand exercises. This is from my a program that I'm certified to teach. It's called Progressing Ballet Technique. Cannot recommend that enough. But this is just the one I got through them. You can Amazon this and get any strength of a band, any length of a band. This one is extra long because it's designed for wrapping around your body and doing some extra crazy stuff. So you have your basic push and pull. So you want to have, if you're using muscles, again, that you have not used in your childhood and youth, or part-time, you want to make sure that you don't get a sudden overuse injury. So just a few of these before class really helps. You can also do the reverse if you have a piece of furniture, and also work on the pulling. Like I'm pulling against this. Oof. Pull, pull, pull. So you want to work on the pushing and the pulling, and then also the side to side. But all four directions are important. So I have that looped around the foot, and then I'm taking my unused foot and pushing against that. And depending on how hard I'm pulling, that's how, and I'm pushing away from it, like that. Yeah. And then I can do the other side, push away with it here, and get the just a few strengthening moves the other way. So those are just some basic things just to add to your strengthening portion of a good warm-up. And then there's all sorts of basics, gym type workouts, if you will. And most of the time, if you're dealing with like workout stuff, they're going to work out your abs, your core, and there's all sorts of stuff that you can do for your lower back, right? To fire all of that up. But we don't focus as much on our lats, on our sides, in other words. And so when we get to anytime we have a turn, we're going to be doing this. So we want to be able to lock that down and be able to get away from the hula. And so there are many different kinds of exercises you can do. I like this. This is just a touch. This is not a sitting into the hand, because if you're sitting into the hand, you're not doing the move. So we're going, and you can put this down and just slide over, and you'll really feel that core and our lats engaging. You can take the arm over. You can go over and pulse. You can add a small ball to work on that as well. And let me see. Yes, so we have our lats, and then we can go into all sorts of different things for that to warm up those so we can lock that down and have that not be a technical weakness. And then another thing as preventative, also kind of part of our warm up, is that those rotation exercises. Again, this is a more aggressive warm up. This is, you have to have a certain level of mobility just to even be able to do this. So this is our large exercise ball. So we want to keep our hips at a 90-degree angle, our heels in the center of the ball. And then when we roll up to a, I don't know, reverse plank or what they call neutral, we can do our rotation exercises. Now this will fire it up real fast. Really fast. You'll fire all of this up and get you ready to go. And of course, you can do your rotations, etc. You can add balances, all of that sort of thing. And then one last thing to kind of warm up more of our rotators. Again, this is much more advanced than sitting in a chair or on the floor. We have our heels in first position in the center of the ball. On top, our hips in 90 degrees, and we roll up, and then we can go do our plies. Again, is this more advanced? Yes, but man, will it wake up the back of your legs, your glutes, your rotators. It is warming them all up really quickly, and you can do, your pulses, etc., etc. from there, and really, really fire all of that up quickly and get you ready to dance more safely than just running into class cold. All right, so let's go on to proper technique as a way to prevent injury and to stay well. So we'll just think about it. Most dance forms have developed over many hundreds of years, and part of it, people have thought what they think is pretty. So there's aesthetics, but there's also living to dance another day. They found out what promotes injury because there is a place to find certain positions. There's a place where you put your body to find these positions. There is also particular muscles that are to be used to initiate certain movements. Why? Aesthetics, technique to get you higher or to do it correctly, but also to keep your body safe. Like landing toe ball heel, which means that you have to, especially if you don't have a strong background in dance, you have to be even more mindful to apply basic good technique, because these rules, if you will, are there for a reason. People have found that they work, they keep our bodies safe. All right, and so another word not in my notes, especially for those that start later or that are dancing part-time, it is not your peers, it is not the choreographer, it is not your desire. It is your body that determines how quickly you progress in your technique. So when you acquire one skill, then you are prepared to go on to the next one. So give yourself the grace to progress and to learn and to acquire the skills. And don't allow yourself to get discouraged if it takes longer than you want. Don't feel pressure from your peers if they, quote, move on ahead of you. That is completely irrelevant, because you can get overuse injuries so bad, and then you are cut short and you're having to take time off or get a injury that knocks you out completely. So really, really be in the mind game of that it is your body, and you have to listen to your instrument and allow it to determine when you can try certain things and when it is safe to do certain things. So as we are learning our dance, whether it's ballet, tap, jazz, contemporary, lyrical, whatever form that you are dealing with, you have to focus on being mindful, especially of two categories: things that are high impact and things that are high in repetition. And so, high impact would obviously be jumps, landing, proper technique, toe ball heel, coming down through that foot properly. You can practice that without any impact at all, just going up and down, leading up and down. And then also, knees over toes is something that is just, it's just so important. So on parallel, this is a way to not go knees over toes, like my knees are not lined up over my toes. And in turnout, we don't have to have perfect first turnout. This is just an example. If your dance form doesn't use turnout, it's the same principle. I can go over my toes this way. My knees are not over toes, so I need to. And then I could go over my toes by rolling my ankles forward, or my arches, going over your arches. Keeping all of that in line will protect your body so much. It does not matter if you don't get to the floor. What matters is that you can get back up again to try again. So allow your body to work at its pace within its range of motion and go slowly. So knees over toes, toe ball heel, and the engagement. Oh, this is another one for your high repetition movements. Make sure that you are engaging your back, your shoulder blades for your port-de-bras, your carriage of the arms as it is in ballet. Carriage of the arms, port-de-bras. Port-de-bras. That's what that is. It is not these little smaller tendons that are holding my arms up. I'm engaging from my back. Number one, it's easier, more aesthetically pleasing. You can find the proper positioning easier, but then also it's less tiring, and you're not going to get as be as injury prone if you are using the proper muscles to initiate whatever movement that you are doing at that time. And then protecting your lower back so much. Again, don't let that Miss Susie over there can go this way farther than you. It doesn't matter. Your range of motion, don't overextend. Go where you can go, and it really is okay. All right, so let's go on to recovery. Recovery. So we have our basic, our rest, our rice combination. Let me make sure. Yep, that's all doing good. We all have our basic rice: rest, ice compression, elevation, like if you have an injury. Rest, obviously, you don't want to dance on an injury. Ice, especially after injury, that can help reduce swelling, compression. I do a lot of things for compression, even when I don't have an injury. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then elevation also to help reduce issues when you first have like a traumatic injury, like you fell or twisted your ankle, etc. So I'm going to go over here, and I have quite a few little gadgets to share with you. And so we'll just power through them. All right, so the first one I have found is it's called cold laser or red light. You can find this often at chiropractors or even physical therapy places. It helps reduce inflammation, etc. It really helps, especially if you can get an injury caught quickly. You can have treatments of this, and it can really help increase your recovery time. In my experience, talk with your doctor about adding any of these. When you go to these places, they have, very professional level strength, if you will, applications of this. You can also get less strong units that are for home use. This is bad for your eyes. They provide glasses for it. Do not look at it. It's very bad for your eyes. It will permanently injure your eyes, but highly effective. Little gadgets here. This costs about $120, which is not bad. It is less powerful than a professional unit, but it does the job, and it's a lot better than $55, $60 per 30-minute session. Um, then we also have your basic massage gun for just basic tight muscles. You can get any type of strength of these that you want. You turn it on. You can increase the strength. They have different attachments, and you can get, I like the flat one, but they have multiple attachments that you can take in and out to work on different areas of the body. You do have to be careful around the neck, obviously. So do your research, talk with your physician, and use wisdom as to when and where and how to apply that. And then our next one, there is a little bit of disagreement in the health world as to the application and properness of these. I have personally found them useful. It's called a TENS unit. I have two different options. I have this one, which I bought from Amazon, and then I have this one, which I got from a medical professional. And so I have found these provide you stimulation to your muscles. It kind of has like a little patches that you put on, thank you, that you put on to the body part that you're wanting to wake up. It provides electrical stimulation. I have found it provides pain relief, and I believe it has helped injury recovery. Some people don't agree with that. I have found it to be helpful, so look into it. You can also find this at physical therapy places or different types of places that provide acupuncture or type things. Now, there's disagreement about acupuncture, especially in the Christian world, as to its properness. But if you look for chiropractors and physical therapy places, they use it with needles. You can look for needling, and it is not pure acupuncture. I have found it provides definitely some pain relief and is helpful in that. But do your own research, pray, decide what is good for you. And then you have different lymphatic tools that you can do to use on your body to provide drainage and to help with tightness and fascial relief. I have only been able to find one person that does the fascial release. I have found it helpful when I can find it, and I really liked it. It wasn't something that it was like, oh my goodness, overnight I felt like I was Superwoman. But I did find I had better range of motion. I did have a great reduction in pain, and it was very, very helpful. But these lymphatic drainage tools can kind of help do a little bit of the same thing, and you can research online for some pathways of like for certain parts of your body of like which directions to go for that. Then we have supports and braces. KT tape is your friend. Some people don't think it does anything. I have found it helpful. It is not a curative, it is a support system. Then you have braces that I have a lot of calf injuries, so I have braces I can put on. I have compression sleeves I put on over my calves when I dance. And then just for overall, I have this compression jacket. It is a monster. And so this goes around your waist, like here, and then it zips up. And then so it just kind of helps provide that support for your back while you're dancing. And then some compression to help with swelling and soreness afterwards. Then there's all sorts of things topical stuff. There's disagreement as to comfrey cream. I have found that curative. Some people don't. Look into it. Then there's also homeopathic stuff such as arnica gel. Some people, again, don't find it helpful. I do for swelling and bruising relief and just some general easing of all of those things. And then you can also take the arnica montana internally as well. But again, do your own research, talk to your physician, etc. Then there are things that are not intended to be curative, just helpful. Tiger Balm, it has like a menthol thing, and it's really, really helpful. And so for like just to get you through rehearsal kind of provides a cooling effect, not curative. You're going to hurt later again, but it kind of helps you get through. I like that. And then one of our last things are some internal supplements I have found to be helpful. I have found collagen to be a really good building block. Now, are these things expensive? Yes. Am I able to take them all the time? No. When I have the money, I take them. So collagen, this is very good for building up your tendons, your joint support, etc. And if you are dancing part-time and you're doing things suddenly that you don't do the other parts of the week, might be helpful. And then I take a vegan glucosamine MSM mixture. Again, this is for joints, tendons, all of the all of the things. I find that helpful. Turmeric or curcumin, I find very helpful for reducing inflammation. And then magnesium, I find good for muscle soreness and cramping, especially if you're up doing ballet stuff and you're up on your toes. That is really helpful for cramps and things like that. Some people say it makes them sleepy and they even take it before bedtime. That's like drinking water for me. That it does not do that for me, but it might work for you in that way. So those are things I have found helpful. And then my last things, I will come over here because it's giving me a timer that my free thing is almost over. I have found that again, the overall compression is helpful. Some of us, especially as you get older, skin doesn't always do all the stuff, and you want to have a little bit of support for your skin and muscles, and then also the compression. Capezio makes a wonderful product called Hold and Stretch. I like to use it as the stirrup, and to put it underneath whatever tights I am wearing, whether they're pink, black, or tan. I always wear these for the support and the compression, dual use, and you can, I believe they have different nudes for different skin tones, I believe. That's Capezio, Hold, and Stretch. And so they fit under like this, and then I can put, if I use transition tights, I can put my regular tights over it and you don't even see it. And then hand warmers. I mentioned that I had a whole bunch of injuries to my lower leg, whether it's my ankle, my calf. What I do, I put the KT tape on to support whatever, like if it was this part right here, I would put the KT tape on. Then I would take these little hand warmers, because I had a professional dancer. He was the uh, first, if you will, male dancer at Oklahoma City Ballet, and he's like, "You got to get your muscles hot." He said, "Put things on it that will make your muscles sweat," because I had just had that posterior tibial tendon injury that if I didn't stop dancing, I'd have to get surgery on it. God got me through that. But anyway, when I was going through my recovery process and getting to dance, I put this here. Let me see if I can back up where you can see it. And so this was in between that KT tape to protect me from being burned. And then I put it underneath here, so it held it in place. And then I put my tights over it. And then I put leg warmers over that. Sometimes I had several. And so that kept all the muscles nice, toasty, and warm. And if you have issues with the ball of your feet, which often, if you are an adult dancer, you do, you can find all sorts of little gadgets. I preferred this one. I found this one moved less in my shoe. So this is a ball of the foot cushion by Petafix. So again, it looks like this. It goes over your middle toe there, and it provides just a little extra cushion, and it doesn't move around for me. But there's all sorts of gadgets out there. So that is all of the information that I have for you guys today. I know it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. Covered a lot of ground, but I am really excited to have shared with you just just scratch the surface of some of the things that I have experienced that were helpful for me and that I found to be gaps in the teaching of adult students, particularly those that were dancing part-time, like in liturgical groups, etc., that were just gaps. So, love you guys. Thanks so much for coming, and I'll see you next time. All right. Bye-bye. Mwah.